We welcome you to Mayhem Super Speedway. It might be the biggest and the baddest track on the NASMARB circuit, and today it is the site for the fourth race of the season, the Misfortune 400. Ricochet, glad to be here with you for MSPN's coverage of NASMARB. As you see our qualifying lineup, which as always is an inversion of the previous race's results, which means Woodpecker and Steve, who failed to qualify in our last race, the reimagined 400, will be first, all the way through the top half of our finishing from last week. Lemon Drizel and Streamer will go second to last and last, as they finished first and second last week. And we'll hope to continue some good success there from Lemon Drizel with Red Pandas Racing, and we're going to actually send it down to a report on the sideline on Red Pandas Racing.
Thanks, Rick. I spoke to Big Dave, team owner of Red Pandas Racing this week, and he said the team is focused on getting all three of the team's drivers into the playoff field. With Lemon Drizel already locked in, they're shifting their focus to the other two drivers. Woodpecker specifically has struggled this year, currently in last place in the standings and with nothing to lose. They have completely rebuilt the 43 car using knowledge the team has gained from Drizel's great performances over the last two races. We'll see if it works out for him. Back to you.
All right, thank you, John. So that's interesting that the Red Pandas Racing team is going to try to get all of their cars in and do it with some different mechanics. They're going to get their first chance to test out that opportunity, and we're going to start with Woodpecker, who gets a little wild there, but it's going to get through the course backwards in a time of 3.10. Oh, flipping upside down back onto the wheels. Nice work there by Woodpecker to stay on the course. And that's the time to beat right now, 3.1. As you see, Steve in the 89 Malbow machine really struggled last week. We'll see what Steve can do. A little bit slow through the first couple turns, and across the line, a 3.88, 7/10 of a second slower. And it looked like there was some contact there with the, strange contact with the bottom of the track there. Caused an issue as Murakami, who was the last car to gain points last week, and that Flare number 4 machine gets wild and gets off the course. Just like Woodpecker, looked like it was a flip in between the first and second turns. It was, but this time unable to regain the footing, and Murakami will not finish this lap. As we'll move to JACKTATO in the number 12. Again, it's wild, and again, not going to finish. So a great job by Woodpecker to get through after a little bit of a rough run, as now we've seen issues for back-to-back drivers. Murakami can't finish. JACKTATO can't finish. Here's MOZILLA in the 66. And MOZILLA gets through the turns and across the line backward, a time of 3.77. Looked like Woodpecker put up a pretty darn good time, as only 2 of the other 4 drivers have finished, and neither have come anywhere close to that time put up by Woodpecker, who, by the way, has the worst average qualifying position, averaging an 18th place qualifying. Here's Nugget in the 16. Nugget is upside down, and Nugget's not going to finish. Got out of the gate bad, and that whole entire lap just did not look comfortable for the 16. So we see Jeff Marbin now, 18th in the standings, averaging a qualifying position of 10th and averaging a finishing position of 13th. So not great for Jeff Marbin, but Marbin's going to get through this one and look like probably the second fastest time. It will be a 3.69. Oh, wow. Up and nearly over the course there, but a good job to keep that one calm and get across the line. A 3.69 is the time for Jeff Marbin. That'll bring up Prime. Prime is now 7th in the standings after winning the first race, qualifying in second in each of the first 2 races. Will not get across, as upside down in the final turn, it's a DNF for the Lucky 8 Ball. As Earl from Red Pandas Racing will stand in, 14th in the standings. other Red Pandas Racing Team car that hasn't gotten in. That was a fast time, too. 3.21. And how about the Red Pandas Racing cars? Talked about with John Ball about how they're going to attempt to get all three of their cars locked into the playoffs, focusing on EARL and Woodpecker, with Lemon Drizel already in. And right now, EARL and Woodpecker are 1 and 2 on the leaderboard for our qualifying. As here is ELECTRO, gets a little bit sideways at the end, but that's a good time. A 3.68 is going to be the third fastest time run so far. And a couple of cars in a row now that have completed, which is a good sign. It's a little bit of a tricky track. Certainly the toughest we've been at so far on the circuit, as Sal comes up to the starting gate. And a pretty nice run. That time is a 3.41. Beats out ELECTRO for the third fastest time. And that's the first car that is not a member of Red Pandas Racing to get within a half a second of the leader. Good time there. Here's BLOODSTORM in the 86. Ooh, a little bit of a rough start. Can they recover? BLOODSTORM gets across the line. It won't be fast. It's the slowest time at a 4.1. But you still beat out 4 cars because there's 4 that didn't finish. So a nice job by BLOODSTORM to hang with it, get across the line. And that'll bring up Quillo in the number 9. 5th in the standings. After that improbable runner-up finish. And a big flip. Back on the course, but upside down goes Quillo. Will not finish the lap. Oh, wow. That is a wild ride for the number 9. Holy cow. So the 9 will not qualify on this lap. That'll bring up the 17 of Confetti. And Confetti with a pretty solid lap. Flips at the end, but ultimately that doesn't matter. It's the third fastest lap, a 3.31 for the 17 of Confetti. Pretty good run there. For a car that needs to start getting good runs, here is Winks in the 13, second in the point standings. In one of those flare cars. And there might have been a barrel roll there. Let's look again. Nope, not quite. Stayed on the wheels the entire time. Solid run. A time of 3.77. That's tied with Winks. But if you finish this, you're in an okay spot, because you've already got 5 that have not. Here is Oak in the 48. Also in need of a good finish after failing to qualify in each of the first 2 races. Wild across the course, but through with a time of 3.60. So it certainly wasn't the smoothest ride for Oak, but a pretty solid run. That's 5th right now on the leaderboard. And that'll bring up Neptune now in the number 11. And Neptune with a smooth run, not the fastest. It's a time of 3.53, not bad at all. It is a top 5 right now for Neptune, and that one looks smooth the whole way around. Neptune, by the way, has the best qualifying position out of any of the cars in the field. 4.67, the average starting spot. Right now running 5th. So right around that area as Spitzer comes up. And Spitzer comes across the line with a time of 3.9. Right there, got real sideways, and that really slows down any momentum. Only BLOODSTORM has run a slower lap out of the cars that have finished. That was a 4.1. Here's Lemon Drizel. Let's see what Lemon Drizel does. Point standings leader. But the focus has gone away from Lemon Drizel and onto the other cars from this team. Going to come across the line. Time will be slower. It is 3.91. So Drizel runs 1/100th of a second slower than Spitzer. But ultimately, you got to like what you're seeing, I would think, if you are Red Pandas Racing. And finally, here is the 26. And the time looked like it was a pretty fast one. Yep, Streamer's going to run a 3.34 A top 4 for our defending race winner, who won the pole, won from the pole, and was dominant. 4th fastest time from our first line as you have a look at the overview. Woodpecker and EARL from Red Pandas Racing. They are 1 and 2 after the first round. Very nicely done. And 5 cars unable to finish a lap, as we'll go again with Woodpecker. Let's see how this one goes. A little bit more wild on that. And it's a time of 3:37. Which is still a pretty fast time. They've really worked on that car. You can see the 43 looks entirely different too. Got a different paint scheme on that car. Average time is a 3:24. Obviously that's at the top of the leaderboard right now. Here is the 89 of Steve. And Steve comes across the line with a time of 3.2. So a faster time on this lap. An average time of 3.54. And that will put him second after he ran a 3.88 the first time. 6.15 is the time given to all the cars that didn't qualify. That includes this one right here. Whoa, Murakami nearly didn't finish. 3.72 on the time. Average that out with the 6.15. And you got a 4.94. Oh, man, that was close. The 4 nearly unable to finish either lap. That'll bring up JACKTATO, also a 6.15 after failing to qualify on the first lap. Gets through this one with a much faster time, a 3.72, or 3.43, excuse me. And a 4.79 average time. That'll lock in Woodpecker and Steve. JACKTATO and Murakami currently on the bubble and in danger of not qualifying. Here is MOZILLA. And MOZILLA does not finish this lap. And that could cause some problems. That time will be right now a 5.58, but it could get worse. Across the line, the 16 of NUGGET. A 3.58. It's an average time of 4.87, which is not enough to lock them in right now. So JACKTATO is in. MOZILLA not locked in because of that fact that they didn't qualify this lap. Jeff Marbin with a wild ride again, but going to get through. Marbin with an average time of 3.73, currently 3rd fastest. So if MOZILLA, if anybody runs a slower lap than what we've seen right now, MOZILLA's time is going to continue to get lower and lower as Prime runs a 3.56, going to lock themselves in with a 4.86 average time. Right now, NUGGET with a 4.87. And Murakami a 4.94. They are out right now. Here's the 33 of EARL. Ran the 2nd fastest time on our first lap, and they run a good time here. That's a 3.41, which is the 2nd fastest time we've seen so far in this 2nd round. Averages out at a 3.31, and once again, back to the top of the leaderboard are the 43 and the 33. Here's ELECTRO. And ELECTRO coming across the line backwards. And a time of 3.67. Average time of 3.68. Pretty even there for the 93. They're locked in. And NUGGET and Murakami continue to fall lower and lower on this list. Here is Sal. And Sal with a nice run. That was the 2nd fastest time we've seen from this lap. A 3.26, an average of 3.34. Sal moves to 3rd on the leaderboard. And that brings up BLOODSTORM, who ran the slowest lap. Ooh, uh-oh, that's not good. And it is not going to be a finish for BLOODSTORM. BLOODSTORM will drop to the bottom just ahead of Murakami and underneath that line by 1/100th of a second. Here is Quillo, and Quillo will come across with a time that's not going to be fast enough. Wow. Quillo ran the slowest lap out of those who did not qualify the first lap. Quillo is now in last and in real trouble since everybody else has already finished one of the laps. The 17 is going to come across the line backwards, and Confetti is right now in 5th. locked in. BLOODSTORM is most likely in. Murakami and Quillo in danger. Quillo in a lot of trouble running in last right now as Winks gets through. That's going to eliminate another spot. Winks with an average time of 3.55. Here's the 48. And an even run right there for Oak. 3.52 averages of 3.56, and they're really close right there. You've got Steve, Confetti, Winks, and Oak that are all within 0.02 of a second of each other on their average qualifying time. Here's the 11 of Neptune, as we said, just under 5th place. So just better than that, the average starting position for the 11. It'll be a little lower than that today. Right now in 8th in the qualifying standings. There's only 3 cars left. And Quillo is in a whole lot of trouble because there was a really fast one that's in there in Streamer, so you can't count on getting anything from them. Spitzer's going to have a nice run. Spitzer runs a 3.37. And now Quillo and Murakami are really on the line. Big trouble for the 4 and the 9. Here's the 3 of Lemon Drizel. Drizel is going to get across the line. That's going to eliminate Quillo. A middle-of-the-line run for Lemon Drizel here after a win and a runner-up as the point standings leader. Quillo will not qualify, and it'll come down to Murakami or Streamer. Streamer had a really fast time. I don't even think it's possible, if Streamer doesn't finish this, that they wouldn't be in. It's not going to matter. Across the line, Streamer will vault up to 4th fastest on the average time, and that will eliminate Murakami. So the 4 of Murakami, the 9 of Quillo fail to qualify for the Misfortune 400. Woodpecker on the pole. His teammate from Red Pandas Racing, Earl, will start 2nd. Sal is 3rd, Streamer 4th, and Steve 5th. Then Confetti, Winks, Oak, Neptune, and Spitzer the top 10. Electro, Lemon Drizel, and Jeff Marbin. As you see, those who failed to qualify, Murakami did not finish the inside line. Neither did Quillo. They ran a 3.72 and 3.75 respectively from the outside line. Those times not fast enough to qualify. And then our fastest laps overall, the pole position, 3 championship points to Woodpecker. They also ran the fastest inside line, so you can add another point there, a 3.1, which was the fastest overall lap. And you can add 1 lap or 1 championship point to Steve, ran the fastest outside line lap. Group 1, Woodpecker, Neptune, and BLOODSTORM. Earl, Spitzer, and Nugget in Group 2. Sal, Oak, and Prime will run Group 3. Group 4, Streamer, Electro, and JACKTATO. Steve, Lemon Drizel, and Mozilla. What a group in Group 5. And Group 6 is Confetti, Winks, and Jeff Marbin. So the field is set for the Misfortune 400 at Mayhem Super Speedway. It should be a wild one, as evidenced here by our qualifying session. You never know what's going to happen when Mayhem is involved. And so we'll see you for our 4th race of the season, the Misfortune 400, coming up on MSPN. I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching.